Now enjoy the show. Voice 17104, a station for everyone.
You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music. You really about to do it?
Yes, we're really about to do it. Hello, welcome to the all-new Ron Chapel Show. We come to you from the capital of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. This is Harrisburg. The all-new Ron Chapel Show comes on every Thursday beginning at 12 noon, normally to 12:30, but today we have an extended show because we have some very informative guests in the studio. The focus of the all-new Ron Chapel Show is Harrisburg newsmakers and new businesses. Right now we're going to hear a street report from our street reporter, Khaldoon Scoop Rashid. Good afternoon, Khaldoon.
Good afternoon. Breaking news. At Tuesday night's Harrisburg City Council legislation session, several, courtesy of the floor speakers, diverted from their agenda to voice campaign negativity against the Honorable Mayor Wanda Williams. Under Robert Rules of Order, Harrisburg City Council members should have immediately rose to the point of order and called the Sergeant at Arms to stop this verbal attack upon an honorable member of Harrisburg City government. The fact that not one member of Harrisburg City Council rose up to stop it clearly demonstrates their weakness in controlling public meetings. Gloria Martin Roberts, a former City Council elected official and president, led the attack without opposition. She forgot to mention she quit when no one on council ever voted her way, and she currently works for the City Housing Department across the hall from the mayor's office. We cannot live in the past. Mayor Williams kept everyone on Harrisburg City Council from going to jail for contempt during its bankruptcy receivership. And that's what you need to all remember. Only the late Mayor Reed was prosecuted. In other news, no more free Uber vouchers will return for residents in the Harrisburg area after the program ran out of funding after this past New Year's. Uber and Commute Pennsylvania's Sober Ride Home pilot program, which offered $40 Uber vouchers to residents in need of a safe ride home, has been paused indefinitely due to overwhelming demand. So you can forget about getting a free ride from the Planning Commission during St. Patrick's Day weekend. The money's gone. So if you do drink responsibly, but don't drink and drive to avoid getting a free ride from Officer Friendly. Also, drivers, please observe the speed limit in work zones and school zones. If caught, it's 3 points and a 15-day license suspension, a hefty fine, and a PennDOT reinstatement fee. Next, now is the time for Harrisburg City residents to change their smoke alarm batteries and carbon monoxide batteries. Now that your clocks are now set forward an hour for daylight saving time. Working smoke alarms are absolutely critical for your families during a fire emergency at home when seconds count. To be able to make it to safety and for your loved ones. The Harrisburg School District Transportation Department reports that over 1,800 students on 36 school bus routes ride over 120,000 miles throughout the school year. Harrisburg is fortunate to have a 96% accident-free rate, with only one this year, a week ago at 6th and Harris Street uptown. No injuries were reported, and all is well. It's construction season, and there's a lot of it going on in the city of Harrisburg. So it's something else. The city's parking enforcement department is also out there putting up no parking signs, telling you when UGI or United Water Company is coming through. They are asking that vehicle owners please relocate your vehicles so that they can get in there to make life better for you. Getting $30 parking tickets is no fun. and not worth the aggravation. Harrisburg now faces a significant issue with abandoned homes, with Mayor Wanda Williams stating there are over 550, with Allison Hill having a high concentration of them, turning into illegal dump sites and attracting squatters, leading to further issues. And that's the street report. I'm Khaldun Rashid for The Voice, 17104 Radio.
Thanks, Khaldun. Thanks for your report. But let me ask you, is there any new businesses that are recently opened in Harrisburg?
Oh my goodness, yes, there is one.
And what is it? Where is it located at?
There's a new restaurant and bar, and I've been inside. It's located at 2013 North 6th Street, and it's called the Coda Rouge. But you can't tell, it looks just like an ordinary house until you get inside, and the first thing you see is some very, very good artwork of jazz musicians on the wall, and, you know, like a mini bar, and then the restaurant's in the back. And they serve breakfast every day and brunch, and they got stuff for people with a sweet tooth. You know, they got all kinds of stuff like smoked salmon on potato cakes, carrot cake and French toast, buttermilk, chicken and waffles, and they even got vegan chicken and waffles. And so the drinks and specialty drinks and tea and fresh squeezed orange juice, it's a pretty good selection. And their hours are from Monday through Sunday, 7 a.m. till 2, Monday and Tuesday, closed on Wednesdays. And it's called the Coda Rouge. And they're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday also. 7 a.m. Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 4. And they got a really nice spring menu.
Okay.
Everybody should check it out.
Yeah, thanks for that information. And you say it's called the Coda Rouge?
The Coda Rouge.
Coda Rouge.
CODA-ROUGE.
Okay.
Yep.
I think, Chris, we'll send them an invoice for some lunches for the advertisement.
Yes, sir. Sounds like a plan to me,
We
brother.
need about 4 lunches here.
I'll be on it right away.
Okay, all right. So that's a Coda Rouge.
All right, here's the phone number.
Yes, sir.
Their phone number is 717-226-3884.
Thank you, sir. We'll call them, let them know we'll be sending them over an invoice.
All right.
Thanks, Khaldun
Thanks,
Rashid.
Khaldun. Great job, man.
Chris, you have a question or a comment? for
Oh, no,
Khaldun?
sir. He's always concise in his reporting. Again, we pray blessings and peace upon you, man. Look forward to hearing from you next week, Lord willing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Khaldun.
Until next time.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
Have a good day.
Okay, you know, Khaldun had mentioned about no more Uber or Lyft rides for the St. Patrick's Day weekend. Well, that's information that a lot of y'all need to hear, and you shouldn't drink and drive. It's easy to either catch a cab or to get a friend or a loved one that don't drink if you're going to be riding around the city of Harrisburg this St. Patrick's Day weekend. And as it said on St. Patrick's Day, everybody's Irish. Everybody's Irish on St. Patrick's Day. Okay, right now we'll go to the engineer. He's Pastor Chris Thomas for the community announcements. Chris?
Hey, Ron. Thank you, bro. Again, it's great to be back on the program today. Just 3 quick announcements here. I'll see how quick I can actually display them. Just give me 1 quick second. Computer world full of screens. Okay, the MLK breakfast, the prayer breakfast that was rescheduled is coming up very rapidly. That's brought to you by the IMC of Greater Harrisburg. Again, April 19th. Again, that's from 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. And again, they're going to be holding that wonderful annual event at the Sheraton Harrisburg Hershey Hotel. That's at 4650 Lindell Road in Harrisburg. More information, you can check them out online at imcofgreaterharrisburg.org. All right, our second announcement comes from another one of our podcasters here at The Voice. Again, Reverend Roger Dixon Sr.
Yes, sir. Good
Again,
man.
they're having their Citizen Success Academy. I believe this is the third year as they build a growth mindset. Again, that's May 2nd and May 3rd, 2025, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Again, the venue, let's see, is going to be the Harrisburg Hilton at 1 North 2nd Street, and that's in Harrisburg, PA. More information, check him out online or check him out on his website, rogerdixonsr.com. And last but not least, Ron, if you bear with me just one more sec here,
Take
flipping
your
through the announcements here. Last announcement does come from the Ron Chappell Show, again, for all the candidates, again, business owners. Again, if you would like to be a sponsor, if you would like to be on the show, or if you got an idea or a suggestion, again, Brother Ron Chappell would love to hear from you. And again, his phone line swings on hinges of welcome and hellos at 717-565-0028. Thank you so much, Ron. That's it for the community announcements.
Thank you. I approve of that message. Hey, Chris, give us one more the date for the rescheduled MLK prayer breakfast, and tell us what does the acronym IMC stand for.
All right, I
please.
believe it's the Interdenominational Ministers Conference. I may stand corrected on that one, but I can pull up the flyer here if you just give me one quick second here. Again, that is April 19th. It had to be rescheduled because of the inclement weather that we had when it was scheduled to be presented. So that's April 19th, 9 a.m. until 11 a.m. at the Sheraton Harrisburg Hershey Hotel. Again, 4650 Linda Road in Harrisburg. More information, check them out online, IMC of GreaterHarrisburg.org.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, on another note, it is 313 Day in Detroit, Michigan. So for our Detroit viewers, happy 313 Day. I believe there's a lot of festivities and there's a lot of camaraderie and joy among the residents of the 313, which is the area code for Detroit, Michigan. So happy 313 Day. And I really hope that some council member here or the administration proposes a 717 day here in Harrisburg. Maybe we can have some of our reigning professional athletes on these different sport teams and the like to come back to Harrisburg, and maybe there'll be a grand parade celebrating us having that capital city mindset, being here in the capital city of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Harrisburg, the Star City 717. Right now we're going to have a city council report from our city council reporter. And I tell you, in Texas, when you speak of someone that's outspoken, that's fearless, that have no problem speaking truth to power, they are honored to have Congressional Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I like to say here in Harrisburg, we have the same spirit in our city council member, and she is the Honorable Jocelyn Rawls. So, Chris, if we can have that update, would you play it, please?
Hello, Harrisburg residents. This is Councilwoman Rawls with our monthly council report. I'm sorry I couldn't be in studio with you today, but Ron and I both knew how important it was for you to still get a monthly report. So I want to let everybody know that exciting news. 2 new part-time positions have been created for the city of Harrisburg. Myself and my council members have created senior and junior youth advisors. These 2 positions will cultivate and help our youth understand and be involved in their civic duty. If you are someone who loves to work with youth, especially when it comes to government, then these positions are for you. You will help our youth create relationships between their government and themselves. You will also help our youth's voice be heard and be able to understand their civic duty within the community of Harrisburg. So if that is you, please get on to harrisburgpa.gov/careers and apply for either position. Applications close March 25th. Saturday, March 15th at 2 p.m. is our annual St. Patrick's Day Parade, so get downtown and have some fun. And lastly, a resident named Vib from Verbeck, as she likes to be called. She has been at the market for about the past 3 weeks collecting signatures on a petition saying that Harrisburg residents would love for the middle of the market to stay open as the redesign process goes for the brick building. She collected signatures saying that open space between the brick building and the stone building, she wanted to see how many residents believe that it should stay open. And she got over 300 signatures saying, yes, please keep that open as you redesign the brick building. So she handed those signatures over to our city clerk, Mr. Parker, who then made copies and gave them to the solicitor's office as well as the mayor's office. So we will see what will happen with the redesign of the brick building and see if that part stays open. So stay tuned for that. So those are my updates for the month. I hope everybody gets out, has a and enjoys the parade and enjoys the rest of their Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Jocelyn Rawls, member of the Harrisburg City Council. Incidentally, Ms. Jocelyn Rawls is running for re-election in the May 20th primary election here in Harrisburg. And today you'll be meeting another candidate that's running for Harrisburg City Council. And let me give you a little hint. He has experience. You'll also meet a mayoral candidate here in Harrisburg. You'll also be able to call in and to speak with both of them. Let me tell you about some of the upcoming guests here on the all-new Ron Chappell Show. Next week we'll have City Council candidate Mr. Basir Vincent. He'll be in studio. Matter of fact, no, he'll be in studio on the 27th. On the 27th of March, you'll be able to meet and talk with him. Next week, we have formerly from ABC 27, a reporter and no stranger to the Ron Chappell Show programs, Mr. Mark Hall. He'll be joining us via Zoom, and that's on the 20th. That is next week here on the all-new Ron Chappell Show. We'll also meet another city council candidate. She is Miss Stacy Horn. She'll be guest here in studio next week on the all-new Ron Chappell Show. Right now, what we're going to do is entertain our Sound Off segment. Yes, the Sound Off segment is when residents of Harrisburg can call in and voice their concerns. I'm going to give you the telephone number, and the number is 717-889-7181. That's 717-889-7181. All we ask is that you be a resident of the city of Harrisburg, and please express yourself without using any profanity or personal attacks, please. Okay, the lines are open. We're going to give that a few minutes to see if we have viewers or listeners that are interested in calling in to Sound Off. Chris, let me start with you. Do you have anything you want to sound off about?
Nothing on a serious note, bro. Again, I fielded most of my concerns the first couple sound off portions. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm ready for spring and I'm ready for summer. I'm ready for cookouts. I'm ready for the pool. I'm ready to go back to, Little Buffalo with the kids. So I don't know about anyone else. I'm just sounding off. I'm tired of the cold and I'm ready for the summer, bro. On a lighter note. So thank you, man.
Okay. Well, I want to take this time again to thank the Honorable Jocelyn Rawls for calling in, for sending us that monthly report from Harrisburg City Council. And she can't not be in the studio today because she is also a Harrisburg public school teacher. And so we thank her for her due diligence to make certain that we still got the City Council update here on the all-new Ron Chappell Show. Okay, so there's no caller, so we're going to move right along. And right now, we're getting ready to introduce you to a candidate that will be appearing on the May 20th primary ballot here in Harrisburg. And as I said, he's someone with experience. And that's something that you very rarely hear when you speak of candidates. Here, gentlemen, could you trade seats, please? Okay, we're gonna. You will meet him, and you'll be. Some of you will be reacquainted with him, and we'll also find out why he is running for Harrisburg City Council. So join me as I welcome to the all new Ron Chapel Show, the Honorable Mr. Robert Lee Lawson.
All right. Thank you for such a warm welcome, Ron. I tell you what.
Bring it, your Chris.
I'm looking at. I was looking at the wrong.
Uneven here. The screen.
I was
is
looking at the
uneven.
wrong screen.
Okay,
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you,
Now
sir.
I got us. Now I'm here, and you actually do see who I am. And I thank you for the warm welcome, Ron. It's always a pleasure to come and join your studio, join the show, and talk to you about the events. You never seem to miss on what the people need to hear. So thank you very much for letting me on the show.
Okay, well, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Now, as I said, you're a candidate with experience. And so when I speak of that, that's because you once served on the Harrisburg City Council. That's better, Chris.
That is correct. I was appointed to take the seat for Dave Madsen, who moved on to state government. He's now one of our representatives, and I really enjoyed the opportunity that I had working in council, just because it was a way to serve our citizens, a way to be a representative for your needs, and it's really. You don't realize how much help you're able to provide residents until you actually get into that seat. And I really want to make my way back so that I can continue some of the work that I started before.
Okay, well, that answered my second question, because I was going to ask you why you're choosing to serve again as a Harrisburg City Council member. But let me ask you, what are some of the plans? What is your platform? Be you elected again to Harrisburg City Council, what are some of the changes that you would like to see made in the city of Harrisburg?
What I want to do is I'm looking for a city that looks to build from the bottom up. What I'm hoping that we start doing is taking care of our most vulnerable people as we go forward with the city. And what I mean by that is the people that we sometimes ignore. Sometimes we're looking at people that we may not even think that they count in everything. But first starting with our unhoused population, helping them find and putting together solutions to help them find permanent solutions, so that this is not something that we're going through over and over again. I also want to look at some of our people who are in vulnerable situations. They may be housed, but their housing is not so affordable. It's becoming a bit of a struggle for them to make it month to month, even week to week. So I want to make sure that we're supporting those residents. And of course, if we support these populations, I believe that when you build from the bottom up, that's going to support our other residents as well. Those who may have a little bit more security, if we take care of these other populations, we're going to provide a city that's going to be more enjoyable for all of our residents to live in. And that's my goal, building from the bottom up to build a sustainable city.
Okay, pardon me, please. I just remembered that I did not ask you if you had an opening statement, and so you may have already done that, in your responses. But is there an opening statement that you would like to make officially?
Yeah, so I did kind of get into that in my response, but again, I want to be here to serve the residents of Harrisburg, and to be someone that you can count on, someone that's going to be there for you, who's always a willing listener and ready to take my cues from you, the public, as to how I should best serve you. And I also want to promise you there are times when we may have to make tough votes that the public may not like, but I'll always give you honest answers to tell you why we've gone in that direction and why we believe that this is beneficial. And I will be also open to take your response if you do not agree, so that we can, again, have a good open dialogue between the council and the residents. I believe that's important.
Okay, let me bring Pastor Chris Thomas into the conversation. Chris, do you have a question or a comment to Mr. Lawson?
Sure. As soon as I can juggle through 10,000 screens here. Sorry about that, Rob. Yes, sir. I know you being the forward thinker that you are. First, welcome to the program as always. Again, it's
Thank you,
great,
Pastor.
man. Thank you. I know your schedule's very busy. Again, with campaigning and all the other responsibilities that you have, being the pillar in the community that you are. With that being said, for those that believe most of the funding's being poured in Midtown Harrisburg, while the rest of Harrisburg is being neglected, sir, what would you do to kind of counterbalance the thoughts that the major concern of Harrisburg is Midtown and not Uptown, South Side, or Allison Hill, sir?
Well, I hear that, and my response to that is going back to what we were saying before, building from the bottom up. So what happens is politicians and all, they want to serve the people.
Yes.
And the people they want to serve are the ones who are talking to them.
Understood.
The people who are voting for them, the people who are civically engaged with them. We're seeing much more engagement from those neighborhoods. We're seeing much more of people reaching out to their council members from those neighborhoods, and we're seeing more of people pouring out to vote from those neighborhoods. We need to get more people in Allison Hill civically engaged. As they become more civically engaged, when politicians know that, hey, these are the voters that I have to answer to, they're going to answer to you.
Yes, sir.
So that's what I'm seeing, and that's why you hear, like, even on the national level, people talk about the middle class is who they want to help.
Sure.
They want to help the middle class because that's who's coming to the town halls. That's who's coming to sit in front of them when they're having their meetings.
Yes, sir.
We need to get everyone civically engaged, and that may start at the high school level, where we have to get people more involved. And then you're going to start seeing that money pour into those areas, because now you're going to say, oh, I can't just spend money on Midtown.
Yes, sir.
I can't just spend money on downtown, because Allison Hill, the South Side, they need to see something happen as well. And then on the converse of that, we do have to have a healthy downtown, because a healthy downtown will bring in more of the larger businesses who will pay more tax, who will remove the burden on
Yes,
some of the
yes.
people that are living in some of these areas. So we can't neglect these areas,
Yes, sir.
but we have to make sure that the Hill, the South, and the rest are getting that attention as well. So if we keep people civically engaged, I think that you'll start seeing a change in that.
Fantastic. Well said. Thank you so much.
Okay. Speaking of being civically engaged, would you be open to receiving phone calls from voters, from residents of Harrisburg?
Absolutely.
Okay, so voters, here's your chance to speak directly to a candidate for Harrisburg City Council. And as I say, this is a candidate that has experience on Harrisburg City Council. So please feel free to give us a call at 717-889-7181. That's 717-889-7181. Now, I know firsthand, Mr. Lawson, that running a political campaign is a very expensive endeavor. It's a taxing endeavor. It's a labor of love of the work of campaigning. But there are costs such as yard signs, such as other campaign material. If there are people out there, residents or even non-residents, that want to support your campaign, how would they go about doing so? Or if they want to volunteer their time to work with your campaign, how would they go about doing so?
The easiest way right now, I'm going to say, is we would take checks at my home address, 2900 North 2nd Street, made to the order of the Friends of Robert Lawson. If they want to support my campaign as well, whether it's not through dollars, but it's through their effort, I would say go to my website, rob4hbg.com. So that's Rob for the abbreviation of Harrisburg, hbg.com. If you go there, you'll be able to contact us. You'll be able to set up a way to work with us, whether it's just a yard sign, whether it's saying, hey, I want to go out and introduce you to my neighbors, or I want to go talk to my neighbors about your campaign. And who knows, maybe if I also mention some more of the restaurants that are opening in the area, we can get them to donate to the station and to my campaign as well, because there are some great new restaurants that have opened. So we'll just put out some free plugs, and maybe that'll help us.
Absolutely. Have you or the candidates received ballot number positions yet, Mr. Lawson?
Not yet. Not yet. So as of Tuesday, we just made it official. We turned in the petitions. So we should soon be getting our number positions, and we'll take it from there. I guess as of the 18th is when you're able to challenge the petition. So I believe after that we'll get that raffle.
Okay. Okay. Since we did not get any calls, I'm gonna do something impromptu, if you don't mind, sir. We have other guests in the studio, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to ask you a question. Would you be open for that?
I'm always willing to talk to anyone that has a desire to speak. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. I see they're moving to the mic right now. Okay, please. Okay, we have two other gentlemen here in the studio, and each one is going to ask Council Member Lawson a question, or future council, or hopefully future council member again, the Honorable Robert Lee Lawson, a question. But gentlemen, I just want to ask that you not state your name. We know that you are both Harrisburg residents, but because you will be appearing for a separate interview, please don't state your name. Just confirm that you are a resident of Harrisburg and ask your question, please. Hey, Chris, don't show the image, brother. Please, don't show the image. I asked them not to give their name. If you got a secret, don't tell Chris. Okay, all right. All right, sir, go right ahead, please.
Chris is a man of God, and
Please, your question, sir, please.
What would you do about crime if you would sit on City Council's crime committee in charge of crime, and you see crime is where it is at now? What would you do? What would you implement to help reduce the crime in this capital city of Harrisburg? Because it's one of the things that it doesn't seem even experienced politicians and people who care about the city can solve. It's one of the riddles. What about Harrisburg's crime?
Okay, so unlike, I guess, what many people would say, it's not really an easy answer to say what you're going to do about crime, because we can look at things and saying we need to increase police presence, or we need to do other things there that are there, but it's a long-term process. We have to first thing first is, one reason that crime happens is because people are in need. They may be committing a crime because of a direct need, or they may be committing a crime because they have an overarching need that is putting them in a situation where crime is an acceptable, I'll say, won't say way of life, but it's an acceptable thing to do. Reason being, because if you're living in poverty and you're not able to access what you need, you may just not care about these other societal norms per se. So first, we have to make sure that we get money in the pockets of our residents. We have to make sure that we help get rid of that issue. Once we start getting money into people, we also have to, not once we do, but as we're doing it, we have to get into youth engagement as well. Because the majority of the crime is coming from people that have a little less gray hair than you and myself. We have to get them involved, and we may need to start getting them involved with things, again, before they're teenagers, because once they start going down that path, it's a little tough to reel them back in. And we want to keep all these programs going for the youth, and I'd say young adults as well, because you can't just have programs for youth and then age people out when they hit 18. So we want to make sure that we have stuff to keep people engaged at that point. So that's what I would look at. And then some of the stuff is simple. I spoke with some guys yesterday. Just there was like downtown like over 100 streetlights out. Just simple thing of turning on lights so that it doesn't look like an area where crime is warranted. We just keep our city bright, we keep it clean, we keep our engagement with our youth. And then lastly, the part that you do have to work with is you have to engage our police force. I believe engaging them in a way, though, that is respectful to the residents. So again, getting them involved with the youth at a young age, as opposed to getting them involved with the youth as a young age as a deterrent, but getting them involved with the youth as a young age as, there is like an officer-friendly type program where they're saying, hey, I want to get to know Johnny, I want to get to know Peter as they're in school, and when they become adults, now there may be some mutual respect that's there, so that if they have an interaction, it's not a situation where it's combative. It's more of a mentor relation, and when they have to say, hey, stop what you're doing, now there's some respect, as opposed to, you're afraid of what may be happening to you. You say, hey, I know this guy, I met him when I was in 5th grade, he wants me to stop doing what I'm doing. Okay, I'll give him a little bit of a pass. And also, as that officer, when he looks at this kid, he's not going to see necessarily a threat. He may say, I see this kid that I knew from when I was working in the schools. And once we get rid of like the first crime, then we're more likely to get rid of that second crime. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You never solve it overnight. The overnight fixes don't work. They make people feel good. They make people say, oh, hey, we have more cops on the street. Or, hey, we put together a program. But what you really need to do, you have to make a holistic approach and try to help people from young age on and provide opportunities so that people are not in a situation where they feel their back is against the wall, or they feel that, hey, I remember as a teen, and you get all the movies, the guys were like, hey, I don't have any other options in life anyways, it doesn't matter, let me just go ahead and go wild because there's nothing for me but death or jail. If we get that mindset out of the way, now the consequences start to mean something to people.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next gentleman, do you have a question or a comment to Mr. Lawson, please? And thank you for that question, sir. Don't show us picture, Chris.
Hi, yes. I had a question too. It's mostly like I want to piggyback up from what comes about crime. Now, you spoke of maybe going back and trying to help the youth when they catch them when they're earlier. That's a good thing, but right about now, we got a rash of problems here in Harrisburg that needs to be addressed as of like yesterday. As far as we have people breaking in people's cars left and right. Midtown just had a rash of people like 3 weeks ago. Somebody breaking in people's cars. You got bodegas, in other words, corner stores where they're selling drugs out of them, they're selling alcohol out of them, or they trading any food stamps for money there. We know about all these things that's going on inside the city right this second, and there's nobody seem to have the will or the fortitude to go after what's going on. Because we all know. I mean, the average person, if you ask them where you want to go, if you're going to any bodega, they'll get you some Lucy cigarettes or anything.
Pardon me, sir. Your question, please.
The question is,
for the
how would
sake
you
of
stop
time.
that? How would you stop any of that? I mean, that's going on right now. It's been going on for like years. That's how most people know. What would you do to stop that immediately?
Okay, so we'll look at a couple things that would happen there. As a member of council, I do not have the authority to necessarily stop that on its face. We have to do it kind of the workaround way. We can work, though, however, with our codes enforcement. We can work with, of course, as we get reports from residents to send police there. Like, one, if a corner store is selling alcohol and they don't have the proper liquor license, that's a way that you can shut them down. And that's something that I can do from council is call and make that type of a report. Where we also want to try to pull some of these corner stores a little bit more in line. Again, I was answering earlier that I'm more about trying these holistic approaches, but there are some times where you do have to work with an enforcement approach. And some of our corner stores are staying open later than they should. They have a lot of, let's say, loud music and a lot of, when I don't have a problem with loud music, but late in the night loud music. A lot of guys hanging out with, trash making it to the ground and the like of that. So these things can be handled through an enforcement where we can call and say, hey, we have to stop this. But what I don't want to necessarily do is send a lot of young men down a road that they don't need to go. So I think there has to be both approaches where I want to get in there maybe holistically. As a member of council, as a member of community, let's just go beyond council, but as a member of the community, we need to be engaging with these people that are causing the problem. Going to the store owners and saying, hey, this is what's going on, this is where the problem is, this is what you need to fix. Going to the young men that are hanging outside and saying, hey guys, let's try to find another path, because right now you're causing a nuisance for your neighbors. These are things that we can do directly. Sometimes when you have the title of council, it gives you a little bit more clout with people. Sometimes it doesn't. More or less, the guys need to know that it's someone who cares about them. People see that they care, then they're more willing to respond. But then when these things don't work, we have to be ready to say, okay, now we need some enforcement, because again, we're dealing with quality of life issues where it's not so much even just that they're doing this, it's that you live in a neighborhood, and if you have to try to go to the store because you need an ingredient for dinner that you're making right now, and the drive out to the supermarket is a problem, but you can go to your corner and grab it real quick. But now you have to go through a lot of problems. That's a quality of life issue that we have to address. And these are things that we can do there as we're on council, as we're just members of the community. But that's it. It has to be multi-pronged. And if there are times when every effort has been made to engage people and it's not working, then you have to look at some enforcement issues and say, hey, your store is one that we keep coming back to over and over and over again. Are you selling alcohol? Well, that's a violation. We can now revoke your license, and that's something that we can work through council. We can start pushing to get that to happen. So then that would close that store down if it continues to be more of like a nuisance. But the goal isn't to get rid of businesses. The goal is to get them to come into line, and that's what I would look at.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawson, and thank you, sir, for your question. Okay, you know what? This was a good, and Chris, from forward, when we have a guest, could you just show the guest exclusively, because there's really no need for me to be on the screen. But so this is a last moment request, I'm sure. But you know, it was good, this little process that we did, because you viewers had a chance to see the clarity of Mr. Robert Lee Lawson's thinking and his willingness to answer all questions. And so we're about to go to our next segment, but before we do, I want to ask you, Mr. Robert Lee Lawson, if you have any closing comments or a closing statement.
Absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to come to your venue and talk about my candidacy. So this is something that I don't take for granted, because it's not always out there for people to be able to talk to people directly. So I appreciate that you giving us this opportunity, and I appreciate you gentlemen asking questions, and I appreciate you guys not throwing softball questions. You know, that's important, because you need to know that the people that you elect are going to have your best interest at heart, and I hope, if nothing else, I show that I do have the best interest for the citizens of Harrisburg. And for those who are watching, I hope that you would consider me and elect me back to council, so that I can go back there and finish some of the work that I started. When I was on council, I started a program, or I started pushing for a program that I was calling the Buy Back Our Blocks initiative. City Council has started looking at doing something similar, which is allowing residents to purchase dollar homes, meaning owner-occupant dollar homes from the Redevelopment Authority. They're going to run like a test pilot program of this. And we're going to be using contractors from the city to build or refurbish homes that are sitting on the rolls of the Harrisburg Redevelopment Authority, using Harrisburg City contractors. So we're putting money in the pockets of people that live here, and we're providing stable homes for people that are residents in this city. Many people are struggling with affordable housing because they are dealing with landlords. Many people are migrants within the borders of our city because they're dealing with landlords that are either charging too much or they are not taking care of their properties. This program is going to make it so that our tenants become homeowners, and as they become homeowners, we're going to stabilize some of our neighborhoods. As we stabilize some of these neighborhoods, we're going to start seeing that they will become more civically engaged, because when you own the property, you are now going to say, hey, I don't want that in front of my house. Let me call Rob and say, get out here and look at this. Can we fix it? So vote for me. I want to make a substantial change in our city, and I believe that I have the will and I have the ability to work with others on council and whoever the mayor may be to get things done. So thanks a lot, guys, and again, I appreciate you giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. We thank you for being here with us, for visiting the all-new Ryan Chapel Show, and we look forward to future visits. And I want to ask Chris, if he's not too angry. No, he don't get angry because he's a pastor, and me and Chris work together, so there was just a little tap there to him. But anyway, Chris, do you have a question or a comment to Mr. Lawson before we end this?
No, I just appreciate your sincerity, your genuineness, which is few and far between, in a world of lies, deceit, deception. So thank you for being transparent. I did talk about your comment when we were, just you and I, about being out front the church and sharing about your humble beginnings and where you're at, not just as a citizen, but as a minister of the gospel as well. So putting all that together, man, you got our vote and best wishes, and we look forward to great results from this coming election. Thank you, sir, for joining us today.
Thanks, Pastor Chris. That means a lot. Thank you.
Mr. Robert Lee Lawson. Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break here, 5 minutes or less, and then we move on to our next segment where you'll be speaking with a potential candidate who will not be appearing on the May 20th election ballot, and we'll understand why. Okay, Chris, can I have a little bit of music here, please? Little segue music. Okay, we're back. We're back. Am I going to have a full screen here? There's a panel on it. Okay, thank you. We're back. This is Mr. Robert Lee Lawson, and let me tell you again about next week. We'll have a candidate in the studio here, and that'll be Miss Stacy Horn, a candidate for Harrisburg City Council. She'll be in studio here, and so we do hope that you join us. We'll also have a Zoom visit by Mr. Mark Hall. Mr. Mark Hall, formerly of ABC 27, journalist right here in the 717 Star City, Harrisburg. Well, as we mentioned, the primary election here in Harrisburg takes place on May the 20th. And we know that all potential candidates had to have their their petitions turned in to the Election Commission, I believe by March the 11th. And we had some that did, and we had some that were hit with the last minute technicality when they showed up to turn their petitions in. And we have one in studio today who was a candidate for mayor, a potential candidate for mayor of the city of Harrisburg. He's no stranger to the Ron Chapel programs here at The Voice 17104. So join me as I welcome Mr. Anthony Harrell. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Harrell.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chapel. Thank you for once again having me on your show, so we can get right to it. All you do is say it. First question, we can go.
Okay, first can I have an exclusive screen, Chris, of just Mr. Harrell? Okay, well, while Chris is doing that, Mr. Harrell, you were a potential candidate for mayor of Harrisburg. And first tell us why you chose to enter the race for mayor of Harrisburg and why you won't be appearing on the ballot, sir.
Okay, why I chose to run was a few things why I chose to run. One is, for the last, 5 or 6 mayoral past elections, the turnout has been maybe about 5,000 people. And Harrisburg has approximately 27,000 registered Democratic voters. So that means that every primary, somewhere around the neighborhood of 22,000 people sit it out. 22,000 people doesn't even give a voice to what they really want. So only about 5,000 more controls what really happens in the city. And we heard somebody come on earlier speak to, well, that's where a lot of the voters come from, which is true. Most people, if they voting from a certain area, that's where the persons go to get their votes, then that's who really get to speak. So when they say you care more about Midtown, it's not they care more about Midtown, but Midtown speaks up more. Sure. So I was going to run to engage the other 22,000. In order to do that, you had to speak to what their issues were. And some of the issues that from the last few elections was never spoken to, like the illegal guns that's on here with the city, with the children. We're trying to figure out why we have such a rash of these young people killing each other, why we have so many of them, just can't seem to get grips with each other, why they're so angry. What's wrong with them? What the schooling, the homes, what's wrong with it? Are they mentally, need mental health? There's a whole lot of issues that we had going on. Like, I know as a parent, I had a child that was turning maybe 16 or so, and they started going a little haywire, and I needed help. I needed some assistance with some things with helping out the child. I didn't want the child to get in trouble with, on a law enforcement side, but I wanted the child to get maybe, if it needed, to get some mental help or some counseling or something else so it can speak, so the child can speak to somebody else besides the parent. And there was really nothing as of right now they could do for it, except, you call the police. If the child runs away, I'm going to tell you something. If the child runs away, there's nothing really the police can do about it. Far as if he runs away every other weekend or every so often, all he do is bring him back, and there's really no repercussion for it. So the child knows that they'll just keep running away. And a parent who loves their child don't want them doing that. So they ask, what can be done to stop my child from running away? And they'll pretty much say, until the child breaks the law, we really can't do anything for you. So I ran because that kind of situations where these parents are asking for help. These parents are saying, okay, you spend money over here and over there for these things. This is what I need. I'm at 22,000. I want to speak to you now. I need help with my child. Can you give him maybe some mental health? Can you help him with, have the police come and talk to him? Can you have someone in the schools talk to him? Can you have even something from the church? A person from the church come and speak to him or have him go to that area. But the children in this city needs more help than what's being allowed to them. That's why we have such a rash. When we spoke of crime, we got crime of breaking in, people breaking in cars. These are mostly children doing these things. They're breaking and taking minor things out of the car. They're not actually trying to take the car, do anything. Just break the car. They're trying to, they call it, to me, it's a big cry for help. These children in Harrisburg City are crying out for help. They feel that the village has abandoned them. As far as the school, the education system has abandoned them. They feel as though the police are not really on their side. In other words, law enforcement are against them. They feel as though the community itself is against them. And there's no jobs for them. So when they graduate, there's nothing really here for them except a little, maybe nothing wrong with it, a mom and pop store. But we need real jobs here for these children to do, so they can have something real, a real life here in the city. Because if you listen to most of these children, once they turn a certain age, they want to leave. They don't want to stay here in the city anymore. Now I know that from why? Because I do Uber. I've been doing it for the last almost 7 years in this city, and I hear these children 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning when they shouldn't be out. I've seen them going to parties with 100 kids at one house and whatnot. And I've heard these children say, as soon as I get a certain age, I'm getting out of the city because there's nothing else for us to do. So that's why we have these problems with them breaking in cars and at nighttime having 100, 200 kids at parties because they said, we need help. Can somebody please stand up and do something to help us out? And nobody seemed to be listening to their cries. So that's why the reason why I decided to run, because I would say the number one issue for me when I was going to run, and number one issue for anybody who wants to run for mayor of this city, if they do not care about the next generation who's supposed to be here, if you don't care about the next generation of children, then there's no point in you running at all, because they're the ones who are going to live in the next 20 to 25 years. We building things now. All these new houses you're building are for them. All these new jobs you want to come in, they're all for them, not for us. In our 50s and 60s and 70s, what we have now is what we have. We have to build for them. And if you don't care about them and their lives and what they got going on, that's why I revolt. So to me, that's why I ran. I ran for the children, your children, my children, to have a future here in this city.
Okay, thank you, sir. And can you tell us why you did not make the ballot, why you will not be appearing on the ballot, rather, May the 20th?
Yeah, absolutely. When it came to the ballot, it was a simple clerical error on my behalf that had me get eliminated from the ballot. I mean, I had all the signatures, everything I needed, but it was a simple clerical error that I personally, I take responsibility for, that I did, that I had it so that they should know, because of that clerical error, we unfortunately cannot have you on the ballot. And I understand that. Rules are rules, and you have to follow them in order to be on the thing. So I understand that.
Oh, okay, if I am not exposing too much, I mean, stop me if I am, but through our private conversation, I believe that a campaign volunteer had inadvertently downloaded the wrong petition or petition from the wrong county.
Yeah, what
is that the primary or one of the reasons?
Yeah, actually, what it was when you downloaded petitions, they supposed to say Dauphin County on them, and when they downloaded the petition, it said everything, but it said Schuylkill County on it. That's actually what it was. And when the petitions got signed, it got signed with Schuylkill County on it. And they don't not take anything, and if it says anything but Dauphin County, and that's it. So that's what happened. But I take responsibility for it, even though it was downloaded by someone else. I take responsibility. That's what you're supposed to do. And I fall on that knife myself.
Yeah, that's a true leader, true leader. And you had, I believe, well over and beyond the, 200 required.
No, you only needed 100 signatures.
100?
Yeah, anything over 100. But, it is, that is what it is. And I mean, it was a little bit heartbreaking, but it's understandable because the rules are there for a reason so that situations don't happen. And we make sure that everybody's supposed to be on the ballot, supposed to be there. And it means that they followed the rules. And they dotted their I's and they crossed their T's. I didn't cross my T on that one.
Okay, another example of you an honorable man. Also, let me include being a vet that you are an honorably discharged military vet. I believe a Iraqi war veteran. Is that
absolutely
correct?
That's absolutely true.
Okay, well, I want to thank you, Mr. Harrell, and I know that you will be staying engaged and involved in the community. And I'm going to ask you if you care to stick around because I will be speaking with the mayoral candidate that will be appearing on the May 20th primary election ballot. And as you did with Mr. Robert Lee Lawson, you had a question for him. He's a candidate for Harrisburg City Council. And so we invite you to also pose a question to our mayoral candidate that will be coming up in the next segment.
Absolutely. I just have one more thing if I could.
Yes, sir, please do.
Real quick. As I said before, a leader is one, a leader is one who leads by example. So my example is this. As I said before, the children of this city feel as though the law enforcement isn't really on their side. They don't know anybody. And as of maybe 2 weeks ago, with the blessings of my family and my mother and everybody else around me, I have decided to step up and do what's supposed to be done. Or now it's supposed to be what should be done. I will be the first person to sign up, pay the money to join the Harrisburg Police Department.
Hear, hear.
So we can have that. You want to have that voice? You want to say you want one from the neighborhood? I will be the first person to sign up. So before I ask your children,
Before I ask any of your children who turn at the age of whatever age, 21 it is, to join, you'll say, before I ask them to join, I'm going to do it first. So that I can say, I went and did it, and this is what it's all about, and this is what, you can expect. So that way, this is, well, you want me to join police first? You first. So I will join, if they allow me to, and I get past everything, I will join the Harrisburg Police Department, and I would love to come back as a Harrisburg Police Department to show you that it can be done, that I do care about everyone here in the city and crime, and I care about the children of Harrisburg.
Okay, well, we thank you and we congratulate you, and that is a proactive stance. That is really living. Don't just talk about it, be about it. So we salute you, Mr. Anthony Herrera. Okay, all right, folks. Thank you for staying with us. And right now, you'll have an opportunity to meet a candidate for mayor of the city of Harrisburg. Again, he is no stranger to the programs here at The Voice 17104. And I want to take this time to let all candidates that will be appearing on the May 20th primary election ballot, if you have not had a chance to appear on the all-new Ron Chappell Show, to face the public, to open yourself up to questions from them, well then you still have time. You have up until the 27th. The 27th, you have until there's two programs. There's one next week and then there's one on the 27th. And so all you have to do is inbox me or contact the station during normal business hours and leave some contact information, and we'll get back with you, because after the program on the 27th, if you come on as a candidate, there will be a political fee assessed, okay? A political fee, a monetary political fee assessed. If you're out there, if you are running a business in Harrisburg, and if you want to advertise your business or be a sponsor of the all-new Ron Chappell Show, please contact us by the same process. Either inbox me or either contact the station here at The Voice 17104 during regular business hours. Okay, now we are getting ready to meet a candidate for the mayor of the city of Harrisburg. And again, he is no stranger to the programs here at The Voice 17104. So join me as we welcome to the set the Honorable Mr. Louis Butts.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. God bless everybody in the city of Harrisburg and whoever's in our listening voice. God is with us.
Okay, good. Chris, just exclusively Mr. Butts, please.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Butts, let me ask you, are you our candidate for mayor of Harrisburg? Do you have an opening statement you would like to make?
I can. Thank you, Ron.
It's your option.
This is a time of major change and major transitions. With a new president, we are forced to hone in on our education, hone in on the things that make our city better, not only for our children, but for the prosperity of our children in the future. It's vital that we create jobs. It's vital that we have a good education base. It's vital that we have crime under control. And with my plan, working with the people in the comprehensive plan, we can create a dialect, a place where we can talk and see what needs to be done. I was just with a group last night, Strong Town, and this group were comprised of young Harrisburg residents who were eager to look at the problems and come up with solutions in their little cell. And it gave me an uplifting feeling that people are working out there to make Harrisburg better. But we don't have the infrastructure to reach all the people that need to hear the message. We don't have a newspaper. We don't have necessarily a radio station, which The Voice 17104 is fantastic and it's doing well, and it seems to be maturing and getting stronger. But we need a radio station, a television station, and a paper that the children can write. We need a newspaper that the children can help write. We need a radio station that's consistent, that can give our people the information they need consistently. We need that, and it needs to come from our administration. It needs to be fed by our state, and it needs to come from our administration. State, county, as well as our city need to be involved in an infrastructure that creates a communication base that we can have a dialogue back and forth, that we can talk amongst ourselves about what needs to be done spontaneously. It's very important. And that's one thing I'm going to bring to the city of Harrisburg is communication with a Wi-Fi system that enables police to be more responsive, to enable our fire forces to be responsive, as well as protecting our river from mishaps. Last year we had a young woman that fell in the river for any reason necessary, and we recovered her body in Baltimore, Maryland. No, down in Maryland, no, that should not happen. We should be responsible for our river, our responsibility and our residents. It's vital. And that's what I do. I don't softball any issues. I go straight to the issue and ask for resolution. That is what I do best. And being experienced in government doesn't make you the best candidate. It just means you were there. The administration can sometimes be ineffective. So you don't want to tout a time in the administration that was not effective. It doesn't make any difference. You didn't make the quality of life for the people in the city better. And that is my opening statement. Is my job is make the quality in Harrisburg for the people in Harrisburg better, so we can communicate. We have a specific culture that we need to nurture our people. So what the type of person we want them to be. Okay, we got to make sure there's a cradle to career track for our children, and we need to take it seriously. It's not about being cute per se. It's about having a plan for our city to move forward, and that's what I bring. I bring a plan. I bring energy, breath, and vigor to our comprehensive plan, and that's what I do.
Okay, thank you. Let me ask you, you said if a person has a history of being in office, that it doesn't necessarily, is not necessarily a forecast of them continuing to be in office. Can you name any specifics? Is there anyone specifically that you're speaking about at that instance?
Well, nobody's perfect. But if you got 30 years in leading administrations, why can't you figure out what's going on with the crime? Okay. I mean, if you have bad crime and you have 30 years of experience, that 30 years of experience didn't do you no good for the now.
Okay, you're running for mayor. Are you speaking of the executive department here in Harrisburg?
I'm speaking of anybody of any power, because, for example, I went downtown and I was fussing about how the clock needs to be on time. And that's a principality of the municipality to have the clock running on time, because people count on time. Time is important. And if you can't get the clock downtown right, how can you do anything else? My point is, if you don't know what you're doing and somebody elects you to an office and you still don't know what you're doing, you're not going to solve the crime issues.
Okay, are you speaking of the standing clock that's downtown at Market Square?
Yeah, it was wrong for 3 years until I said, the judges didn't say nothing coming out. The judge saying the clock is wrong. The commissioners didn't say the clock was wrong. The mayor's looking right out of her window and can't notice the clock is wrong for 3 years. When do you say the people need to have something right?
Okay, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, there is a chair of that of that particular department that sits with City Council. Let me refer to our City Council candidate. I believe he may know. What department oversees things like that, such as the clock is standing at Strawberry Square? Would you know, sir? Would it be the Public Works?
I was going to say that should still be under Public Works.
Well, let me answer.
Please,
let me
please,
answer the
Let
question.
him finish. Okay.
Okay, yeah, that should be under Public Works. So as far as the administration would be concerned, then that would be who she would have to get involved. But kind of like what you're saying, almost like they used to call it like a red dumpster thing. You see a red dumpster in front of your neighborhood. First, you're like, who put that red dumpster there? And you keep going past it. After a while, someone may say, hey, do you know about that red dumpster? You say, after you've seen it so many times, you don't see it. You're like, what red dumpster? That's the clock. That's what you're talking
Well,
about.
it becomes it's a numb, and it
Yeah.
is
Thank you.
it's a cancer when you don't fix what you can that has such an impression on your people. Being on time is important, but it's the cat. Capital Area Transit has the dominion over our clock. So we've been talking with Cat, me and the commissioners, and they made it on time, but they forgot to spring forward.
Okay.
So my point is, there needs to be one person that can do one job, and that's keeping that clock correct for everybody. But going back to crime, we need a Harrisburg Police Academy, could be at McDevitt, a Police Academy, a Fire Academy, and a River Rescue Academy. It could be at McDevitt, that creates that bridge between the resident and our police department, so we have officer friendly back.
Okay, pardon me, please, sir. Only because we have viewers that are not necessarily from Harrisburg. So when you speak of McDevitt, are you speaking of the edifice that used to be McDevitt High School in Harrisburg?
Yeah, McDevitt High School, that's Sean McCoy.
And it's now an empty building. It's now an empty structure, or a structure not in use.
Well, this is my point. This is my point. I put things out there that I know has potential. I'm not going to put an idea out there that hasn't been vetted once or twice. Now, York, Pennsylvania, took what I said and made a police academy, and their crime is going down because they put a police academy in their school district. Now, I'm saying the same thing, and it would be behoove of us to, if we want to copy off of somebody else, let's copy off of York. But they took that from me. And if we would do it, we would see our crime go down. Simple as that. There's other things that Strongtown told me about speed going down 2nd Street. We made it 2 lanes, but it increased the speed. So people can't really cross the street to go and enjoy the river.
Okay, pardon me. You mentioned Strongtown. What is Strongtown?
Oh, Strongtown is an organization, is a group that they formed down in Midtown. They have a template on their computer. It's called Small Bets, and they have different tasks that they assign each other that they can do throughout the city that may help the quality of life for our citizens. I feel as though their template can be duplicated on the south side, can be duplicated uptown, and we have these organizations that focus on their region or the whole city at once. And they have good dialect, they're young, and I think we can use their platform and their template to make Harrisburg a better place in the short time, even in the short time. I'm here for solutions. I'm just here talking about what I've been throughout the years that enable me to give a vision of the future. And that's why I'm here.
Oh, okay, thank you. Now, you are here to replace the executive in the city of Harrisburg, the chief executive. And so, why do you think that the chief executive should be replaced?
Well, I don't think she has a vision. I think she lacks vision, and she lacks the endurance to really push a platform that is strong and is viable for the future. That's the skin and bones to it all. I got out the race last time to support her. I asked her for a job with it as a sustainability officer, and she blacked, but she turned her back on me. So this time, I'm not doing that. I wanted to help her, and she didn't even want her own residents that care help her. We are human resources. We have to look at our human resources in Harrisburg. Everybody is important. You can't do it by yourself. You can't get to be mayor and make this little team and think that's going to address all the people, the collective. It's not. It's going to address, like Mr. Lawson said, it's going to address the people who you elected here. And we got to change that type of administration that looks out for the people that put them there, who gave them the most money. And they then cater to those people. We can't elect anybody who can be controlled like that. And that is the problem with the different administrations that came before, including this present administration.
Okay, let me ask you something now. You mentioned that you had approached the administration, the executive about a position. Well, are you aware that there's a controversy right now surrounding the executive's office when it comes to a question of nepotism? Are you familiar with that case, sir?
I heard a lot of stuff. I've been listening, and you know, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect by any means, but when it comes to wielding the power of the seat, you have to be very cautious and very aware of the do's and the don'ts.
Are you aware of the accusations of nepotism?
I heard of them. I don't know if they're true, but that's a burden she's going to have to bear.
Okay, so that's your views on that.
On that situation, I don't know it was true. I don't know what's untrue. All I know was out and what is being defended.
Okay, let me ask you your direct platform for this campaign.
My campaign is make our river beautiful, our city. I looked at YouTube, and every YouTube I seen about Harrisburg, they were talking about how horrible Harrisburg is. Hey, Mayor Wanda Williams has been in administration for 30 years, and for 30 years, the Sylvan Terrace has been trashed for 30 years. There's mattresses over the terrace for 30 years. Our terrace is trashed. How long does it take to clean the terrace? That's the question. My job is to look at these issues and make it better for the quality of life. I want the terrace cleaned. Give my people's eyes a break. The trash that is visible in the winter shows you that our city isn't on it. The clock is wrong and the trash is there.
Okay, when it comes to the trash, does that fall under the Public Works Department, sir?
It falls under the mayor's vision, the mayor's eyes. It doesn't have to do with them per se. It has to do with our leadership. If you see trash, make sure you clean it up. On State Street Bridge, it's trash. There's trash everywhere. There's trash everywhere, and it's horrible. It's just horrible. And we got somebody's got to do something. I will clean up this city.
Okay. What is your vision for the youth of Harrisburg?
Well, not only the police academy and the fire academy, I want to put indoor batting cages throughout the city so they can actually keep up their baseball game even in the winter.
Okay. Okay.
These are some of the things I want to instill in our community.
Okay.
I want to exercise and use our farm show a lot better, so they can have the ability to ride horses, learn about agriculture, make sure there's programs throughout the year. Why every time there's a farm show or something, our Harrisburg's not involved in the farm show? It's happening at our house. So we have parties all the time at our house, and we're not in the party. We have to make sure our children reap the benefits of what happens in our house. Now we have the farm show, and it has 300 vendor slots, and nobody from Harrisburg has any vendor slots in the farm show. We, as the administration, must make for certain that we occupy a section of the farm show during the farm show, during the circus, during the fishing boat, the largest in the world. We have to get revenue from the parties that happen in our house. And as the city administration, we will have incubator retail slots in the farm show that's in our house. You have to look at the things that Harrisburg has. We have education modules in DCNR K through 12. DEP has education modules K through 12. We must use the resources that we have to benefit our children. I don't see people doing it these days. I see people leaning back, collecting checks, and not making anything, not using their brains to connect any dots.
Okay.
That's why it's frustrating for the kids. I'm going to Wi-Fi the city, and we're going to harness our river too. The river has a lot of power. It's called hydropower. That's what Canada uses to supply power to New York, supply power to Minnesota, supply power to Wisconsin. These are big things. These are big infrastructures that will give us power as well as revenue. We don't have the incinerator anymore. Our parking's garbage. Everybody knows parking's garbage. We have to make power and make revenue one way or another. And that's one way through taxes, and I'm sure you don't want to hear that. But another way is through our Susquehanna River. We can harness the power of the river, and we will be set forever and for always. Our Susquehanna River is the fifth oldest river in the world. Okay? Let's get real. Let's look at real numbers, and let's get mature and honest.
Okay, let me invite Pastor Chris Thomas into the conversation. Chris, do you have a question or comment for Mr. Lewis Butts?
Again, Lewis, man, your ideas are revolutionary to say the least. So we're very appreciative just to hear just the tip of the iceberg of some of the plans that you have for our beloved city of Harrisburg. With that being said, let me see how. With the ever-growing displaced and homeless situation issue that we have in the city of Harrisburg, I mean, you can look around, you see, folks that are homeless and displaced, even those that have mental illnesses that have been released, and seemingly there's nowhere for them to go. Do you have any thinking forward ideas to potentially house and get these people some placement, sir?
Here's how I look at it. It's a track to making them a better person, because I want to raise the value of the person in the one person.
Yes, sir.
If I can raise the value of a person, I can raise the value of the city. The idea is to, if they don't have their education, you get them some, and you constantly feed into that person.
Yes, sir.
I want a section of Hall Manor. Like, there's a section by the pool in
sir.
Hall Manor.
Yes, sir.
I want to use that as a place where I can, the homeless can be placed. And nurses can administer, counselors, doctors, everybody, there's a place for them to be. Then we can administer, they can get educated. And then those people who live in the Hall Manor that have jobs, and are consistent, we'll get them a house. Because you said there were vacant houses in Harrisburg. We can use that vacant house, rebuild those vacant houses to house those people in the projects that are consistent with their jobs and with their careers.
Yes, sir.
We can get them involved in a first-time homeowners program. I'm a board member at the Fair Housing, and there are first-time home buyer programs that Fair Housing, they come out with almost close to 200 people a year, maybe over that go through the Fair Housing first buyer program.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's a blessing. But when it comes to the homeless, there needs to be a place, and it would be Hall Manor. There would be a section of Hall Manor that I would use for the homeless to get them off the streets. And meanwhile, we could administer aid to them as well as see where they're at mentally and physically. And we have nurses to do that because human resource is primary, and they are our most vulnerable. That's what I would do. I would take a section of Hall Manor and place them there so we can get them on a track to wellness.
Yes, sir. Well said. Great idea.
To wellness. And then the people that we displace from Hall Manor go to the first buyer program. So then they can be housed in a house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Butts, and thank you, Mr. Thomas. Okay, folks, we have only 15 minutes left in this program. Unfortunately, I have to run home and meet Comcast by 2 o'clock.
Comcast?
We have gone further than I had intended for us to go, but we are still going to accept questions, if you will, from our two guests that are still in the studio. If the gentlemen have a question for Mr. Butts, are you open to taking a question from two Harrisburg residents?
Of course, these are my brothers, and they know they're my brothers.
Okay, thank you. The answer is yes. Okay, I'm going to ask the first gentleman if you please come to the mic and please make your answers concise, Mr. Butts.
I'll do the best I
yes,
can.
Gentlemen.
With the time I got.
Okay, Mr. Lawson.
All right. So, Mr. Butts, you've always been a little bit of a visionary, so I hear you with great ideas. But with the ideas, we have to figure out the implementation. How do you figure to implement your most ambitious goals?
Well, fortunately, some of my visions and some of my goals, I wasn't the first person to say it. For example, I'm going to take hydropower. Mayor Reed proposed hydropower, and 3 other mayors before him proposed hydropower because the river doesn't change. Now, Mayor Reed had got approval for hydro generation through the Corps of Engineering, and they gave him money for it, but he decided to use the money in other ways. So some of the things have already been accomplished when it comes to viability. Now, technology had to change in some instances with Voith Hydro in York. Now, Voith Hydro in York makes all the hydro plants throughout the world, big and small. And they came up with this new turbine called the Stream Driver, which fits our design. So it's going to be a little bit of time for implementation. And I can get it from the state. We can get it from the state. And a lot of the initiatives with Shapiro right now calls for renewable energy.
Are you speaking of Governor Shapiro?
I'm speaking of government. I'm speaking of the federal.
You said Shapiro. All of our viewers are not from Harrisburg, Mr. Butts. Are you speaking of Governor Shapiro?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Now, he's our governor. You may not know him, but he's into renewable energy, and it's going to take a team. But we can comprise a team because we're looking at all kinds of renewable sources. And we can be the poster child for hydropower in this state.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Lawson. Mr. Harrell, do you have a question or comment to Mr. Butts?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Butts. One of my greatest things that I went to champion for was help for the veterans, as far as the homelessness and education, housing, and job opportunity for the veterans here in our city. What would you do to do more outreach to get them into those positions?
Well, I feel as though we do need a new survey. We do need another census taken of all the people, and what any needs of anybody should be met, whether they're a veteran or whether they're a 2-year-old child or whether they're 99 years old. Everybody is valuable. So when looking at the collective, I don't think there is one need necessarily that surpasses any other need, and there shouldn't be not necessarily a higher quality of care for any specific person. I value everybody the same. Every head is worth something. And I'm going to take that person and we're going to see what they can use and what they can use to help the next person. Because we will take care of everybody. And that's the key. It doesn't make me a difference of who and what you stand for. You are worthy of happiness, prosperity, and a dream. You have a dream. And my job is make those dreams reality and have a platform so you can do that. I want to make sure that we communicate with each other, because we can help one another. I may not have your answer, but somebody else in Harrisburg has your answer, and we have to help each other. It has to be a community. It's not based on me. It's based on me being a person and my character, showing others maybe what out of my values. I believe in God. I believe in good families. I believe that we deserve a pathway to prosperity and a meaningful quality of life.
Right. Well, the reason why I asked that question real quick, if I could, just to follow up, because we know every 22 minutes a veteran commits suicide. Every 22 minutes that we pass away every day, a veteran commits suicide. So their rate of what they need is like, not that it's more important than everybody. You said everybody's the same, but we have an epidemic of them. They go out and serve our country, put their lives on the line, come back. They have a lot of issues. So I figured, well, that's what when you speak of homelessness, they're in that group. When you speak of the crime, they're in that group. But when it comes to like the mental health, they almost at the top of the charts for that. Because, like I said, every 22 minutes they commit suicide.
Well,
so we must have a program somehow, or outreach, so that they know that Mayor Butts he cares about his veterans as he does everybody else. Because you will find there'll be a whole bunch of different groups that will contact you as mayor, and one of them will be a veterans group. Says, hey, what do you do about us? Take care of us.
For example, I just talked with the commissioners about our Civil War heritage, Harrisburg Civil War heritage, and how we can resurrect our 477 flag. I will want the veterans to help me with some projects regarding our Civil War Renaissance. I want to value our war heritage and the people who gave their lives for our country, for our rights now. There are soldiers that have not been validated through winning our freedom. It is my job as mayor to tell a story of how we've overcome. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania won the Civil War. People don't understand what type of freedom we emulate to the world. And it starts in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Right now, our Democratic Party is imploding. They need new Democratic men that stand up, masculine men that stand up for the rights of us all. Between a Democrat and a Republican, Republicans don't care. Democrats care. I care for everyone. Everyone matters to me.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. We have time for one call. We're going to give you 5 minutes. If you want to call in and ask a question directly of Mr. Butts, we just ask that you be a Harrisburg resident. And so we'll begin now. The number is 717 56. I'm sorry, I'm giving you my number. 717 889 7181. That's 717 889 7181. If you are a Harrisburg resident, if you are a voter, preferably, if you have a question or a comment to Mr. Butts, now's your time to call and speak directly with him. And as I do that, Mr. Butts, as we await a call, do you have a concise closing statement and some contact information for those that want to be of help to your campaign?
You can call me at 717-379-5875. And my Cash App is Cash App Buttscamp, BUTTSCAMP. If you want to donate for my signs, pamphlets, and other things, you can reach me at those two things. Thank you. And my closing statement is, I will meet you in the streets. I'm going to every house so people can meet me, and we will talk about what you feel needs to be done. I have the energy, I have the wherewithal, and I have the heart. By God, I will touch and meet everybody in this city. At least you know how real I am. I'm not a softballer. I'm a hard baller. And you will see my maturity as well as my desire throughout this campaign.
Okay, any question or statement, Mr. Thomas? Concise, please.
No, sir. No, not at this time.
Okay, well, we want to thank you. Thank you, Mr. Louis Butts, candidate for mayor of the city of Harrisburg. And we do wish you well with your campaign. I just have one lingering question, though, if you don't mind answering with a concise answer, if you want to answer it. There are other candidates that are also running for mayor of Harrisburg, and there, of course, is the seated mayor. What one thing would you say separates you from the other candidates that's seeking the office of mayor of Harrisburg?
My platform is unlike anyone else, and I don't have the luggage of those other candidates. Those other candidates have tarnish from the past administrations that weren't effective. Some of them have lingering burdens that fog up their vision for the future. You have to start clean. You have to have good, strong priorities for the people. And you have to have change. Look at what's happening. Our streets are trash. And I'm tired of people talking about Harrisburg and how trash it is. I mean, if we could just make Harrisburg capital city worthy.
Okay,
We have to be worthy.
So, would you be willing to say or affirm that you will be going into office without any baggage?
I'm going in office with no baggage. Not air. I got clean air.
Or favors owed.
The doors will be open.
Or favors owed?
Oh, no favors owed. I just owe my people. I owe them to meet them where they're at. Not where I want them to be, but we're going to start with where they're at.
Okay, folks, it's Mr. Louis Butts, candidate for the mayor of Harrisburg. We want to thank you, sir, for joining us today here in studio. We want to thank Mr. Anthony Harrell, a Iraqi war veteran and active, proactive resident in the city of Harrisburg, who will be joining the Harrisburg Police Department. We want to thank City Council candidate Mr. Robert Lee Lawson for joining us in studio today. We want to ask that you join us next Thursday when our guest will be Harrisburg City Council candidate Mr. Basir Vincent. Also, we'll have a Zoom visit from Mr. Mark Hall, formerly of ABC 27. We invite you to join us on the 27th of March when we'll have in studio Miss Stacy Horn, candidate for Harrisburg City Council. And if you are a candidate out there that has not yet appeared on the program, please inbox us your request to be on the program and we'll get back to you, because after the program on the 27th, there would be a campaign advertising fee associated with your appearance. Let me say for the record that all candidates that appeared on the all-new Ron Chappell show this year and during this primary election season are sponsored by the Voice 17104 to take care of any legal matters that may present itself. So we thank you for taking the time to view us. We had the intent of being here for an hour, but we are well beyond that, and I think rightfully so, because I hope that you found this to be a very informative program. And if you think so, please like and share the program. And so on behalf of Pastor Christopher Thomas and wife Pastor Melissa Hall Thomas, and for Mr. Anthony Harrell, Mr. Robert Lee Lawson, candidate for Harrisburg City Council, and Mr. Louis Butts, candidate for Mayor of Harrisburg. This is your brother Ron Chappell wishing you well. Thanks for viewing and good day.